So people have asked me how to cook ramen. I always cook ramen. Everybody wants to know how I cook ramen. I follow directions. I don't know anything, so this is all kind of off the cuff. Again, I don't know shit. I'm basically a high school dropout, and I just make food. So if I can do it, you can do it. This is kind of like a basic miso ramen. There's nothing too crazy about it. You have a few different parts of ramen. You have your soup, which is obviously the liquid. You have a tara, which is kind of like your seasoning paste, I guess you could say. You have an aroma oil, which is another, I don't know, it's like a bunch of fat and shit with vegetables. And you just fucking do that. And then you have noodles. People like to argue if toppings are part of that, but I will say they are because toppings are cool. So then we do toppings too. So first things first, I like to get all my shit out so that I'm not running around the kitchen looking for everything. Paige will say that's not the truth at all because I run around like I'm fucking crazy all the time. But so like today I have chicken backs for the soup, pig feet, which I'm sure a lot of you are curious about but won't eat, but they're good, and pork hocks. So that probably does sound like pork hocks, like poor dicks. It's not. I mean like a ham hock, but with less ham action going on. So no poor dicks are in the soup. Let's start with the soup. So basically I put everything in a pot and kind of boiled it for 15-20 minutes and skimmed all the scum that comes off the top. Pork is notorious for tasting funky and kind of like shit if you don't do that. So make sure you do that. It also helps to keep the soup clear. But again, I'm just doing this on Saturday, so I really don't give a shit about that. So yeah, I did all that, and then I rinsed all the blood and shit off of them. These are chicken backs. We're gonna play a little anatomy game here, I guess. These are the pork hocks, or the ham fucking ankle things. Half of a pig's foot. It's got a lot of gelatin. It's very gelatinous. It will make your soup very fucking thick. It's good shit. You want to eat it. I know it's fucking scary and it walks around and shit all day long, but it's good. I promise. That's why you cook it and you don't eat it raw. If you ate it raw, you're a fucking animal. So now I'm going to wash my hands, not only because of the obvious things that are happening right now, but because I just touched a bunch of nasty animal parts. So you wash. I would do the 20-second kind of thing here, but I don't know if we got time for that today. So clean-ish, clean enough. And then again, the soup's basic, so I'm just gonna throw some fucking onions in it. I'm doing it in an Instant Pot because I don't want to wait around all night. I usually do it for like 16 hours, but I'm not today. So I threw like half a head of garlic in there. I just talked about having everything I needed, and it's not. So let me grab that. I like throwing Szechuan pepper in there. Szechuan pepper, it smells good. Tastes cool. Use it. It's cool. And I just fucking, I don't know, throw some in there. This isn't science. I mean, I'm not fucking following the crazy recipe here. I'm just doing some shit that I like to do. So I'm just gonna throw a bunch of water in there. And again, with this Instant Pot, it's cool and it works really well because you don't have to wait all night for it to fucking boil. Leave your stove on, have a house fire, kill your dog in the process. But you can't fill it up super high because I did once. And when you let that fucker rip, it blows shit all over the kitchen. So I'm gonna start that up. I'm just gonna pressure cook it. Again, I don't even know how this thing's not working right now. Okay, cool. I'll probably do it for like an hour, maybe hour, I don't know, hour, sure, yeah, we'll just say that and I'll edit it or something, whatever. I'm just gonna let it rip. So that's that. We'll move on to the tara next. So this next part's called tara. It's like, I think that's how you pronounce it. Again, sure, yeah, why not? This is kind of like your big seasoned bomb that kind of gives the bowl its signature flavor for like each place that you're gonna go or from each person who cooks it. Everyone's is different. Everyone tinkers with it a little bit. Again, I follow directions. I use a guy named Ramen Lord. He's a guy on Reddit. And on the ramen subreddit, there's all kinds of recipes for ramen that he put out. They're all solid starter points, and then you can kind of play with it from there and see what you like the best. So this Tara is kind of a riff on his. We got miso. I usually like to do like 50% white, 50% red. They have different tastes, but right now we're going through all this bullshit. So I went to the store, this is what they had, so I got white. Tahini in this strange unmarked bottle. It's like sesame paste shit. Yep, works. And then sesame oil. And then this huge jug of soy sauce also too. I use it like a tablespoon at a time, but it's kind of like that old Asian grandmother bottle of soy sauce that, I mean, who the fuck doesn't like that? So, yeah, what you have to do then is you take onions, ginger, and garlic. I think that it's a good rule of thumb to do like 33% of each, and then you end up with 1% of fuck off. I don't know, it's like 33.3%, so then you end up with point whatever. Again, fuck, I'm a dropout. So yeah, what you want to do is you want to grate it. You don't want to slice it, dice it, because it's all going to be grainy and shit whenever you put it in the bottom of a bowl. You're going to get a big fucking bite of ginger, a big fucking bite of onion, and no one's really trying to do that whenever you eat ramen. You kind of want it all to blend together and have all the things come together to make one. So I have my miso in this bowl. Looks like shit, but that's what it is. You just want to dump all that shit in. And of course, I don't have that spoon, again, that I was talking about having, so I'm going to grab that. Then you want to take your soy sauce, your oil, your tahini, throw that in. That came out really nicely. Yeah, this is my whisk. Don't talk shit. It fucking works. So yeah, it doesn't have a handle. It's from like an old hand mixer. So I'm just gonna whisk this shit up with this fucking shitty whisk. But like I said, it does what it needs to do, and it makes good ramen. This is actually the secret. You need this whisk to make good ramen. If you don't have one at home, fucking get one. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna whisk this shit up, and then I'll be done with the Tara. This is the best thing. What you want to do with this is once it is done, you want to leave it in the fridge for like, I don't know, you can leave it in there for like 300,000 days. It'll probably get gross after that. But I like to leave it in there for, I don't know, fuck it, a night, a day, a couple days, 3 days. As much time as I can kind of give it before it goes bad. But you just get this like smelly ball of shit. And then I had something else to add into it. I don't know where it is, so we're just gonna let it rip. Cool, so next we'll do eggs. So the next step is eggs. In my opinion, eggs are one of the most important part of a ramen bowl. Every time I throw a ramen party, I put all this fucking work into this ramen, and I'll be in the kitchen for like 4 days. I have this huge, like 1,000 quart stock pot that I use on the stove. And like I fucking get red because the steam burns my face, and there's all this work that goes into it. And then every motherfucker that comes over is like, those eggs were pretty fucking good. And it's like that's the easiest fucking part. But there is a science to the eggs, and it is very important that if you are not a drug dealer yourself, or you have a kitchen scale, talk to your friend that's a drug dealer, or get a kitchen scale. It's very important. To make the eggs, these are already done. I did them last night because I wanted them to marinate for a while, but you can kind of get an idea of what's going on here. They're like a little bit opaque. I think that's a word. I kind of just pulled it out of my ass right now. It might not be real. I'm probably not using it how I'm supposed to. My wife's the English teacher. I'm not. Basically, what you want to do is you want to cook your eggs for 6.5 minutes. Get water fucking hot. Get fucking eggs. Put them in the fucking water. 6.5 minutes later, pull them out at 6.5 minutes and put them in cool water. Once they're in cool water, you let them sit, cool down so they stop cooking, and then you peel them. No one wants to peel hard-boiled eggs. This is no different. It fucking sucks. And they're not all the way cooked. Oh man, I'm burping up beer over here. May as well fucking flush her down. So then, so you let the eggs cool down. Basically what you're doing with these is you're not cooking them all the way. The white is set, the yellow, the yolk in fucking normal terms, is not set. It's kind of loose, it's a little runny. My dog wants to go outside. So if you could let that dog outside, that'd be awesome. What you do is cook them, again, 6.5 minutes. Fucking, that's it, 6.5 minutes. You fuck that up, you fucked up the whole meal. It's done. Once it's done, then you peel them, you're probably gonna lose like 5 or 6 of them to the war. I do every time. You get some shells stuck on them, or they crack and they fucking blow up in the water. It sucks. So once it's all done, you peel them, get them cool down. You get a container. You put your eggs, or you put the container on the scale. You zero out the container. This is all done in grams. You add the eggs, and you take that weight, and then you take the water, fill it up so the eggs are covered, and then you take that weight. So let's just say it's like 500 grams, right? So then you want to take 10% mirin and 10% soy sauce. So 500 grams, 10%, 50 grams. I think that's the right calculations. So you would do 50% mirin, 50% soy. Mix it up, put it in your container. And what I like to do to make sure that it stays covered, and you guys might think it's gross, I don't care. I've probably eaten a lot worse. We have pig's feet in our fucking broth, for God's sake, or what? Yeah, whatever. You take your paper towel and you throw it over them. It keeps them submerged. The paper towel gets soaked, so it soaks the eggs. It's kind of a happy little family in there of tasty. You can add chili shit like that Hoi Fong chili paste or ginger, garlic, whatever the fuck you want. Make it yours. This is how I do it. This is how I like it. And that's it. So you let it sit 2 days if you can. If not, up to 5 days. After 5 days, it gets gnarly. But what's nice is that the soy sauce and the mirin only penetrate until like almost the yolk. It's called equilibrium brining. Again, it's science shit. I don't know much about it, but I just follow what they tell me to do, and then I do it. My dog's back in now. I think she's shit because now she's running. But yeah, we're gonna turn this one off. Go to the next one, which will be Noodles. And just like that, all the shit is fucking gone, and this shit's up. So Noodles. This is actually a new recipe I'm trying. Usually I do the Ramen Lord guy's noodle recipe. That one I follow pretty much to a T because I don't know dick about how dough works. I always fuck up dough when I try to do it by myself. That's something I follow it. Again, huge drug dealer scale, you need it for this. If you're not doing this with the scale, you may as well just not, because it's not gonna work. So this time around with this recipe, we're doing cake flour, bread flour, rye flour, which I've never used for anything, but I'm assuming it is what is in like fucking rye bread. Salt, which you can't see, but it's here. Then there's this shit called kansui powder or kansui. I don't speak Japanese or whatever, so I don't know how to pronounce it right. I'm doing my fucking best here. I read it a lot though. And all the noodles, it calls for this shit. Does something with the alkalinity. Also, and by the way, the flours do shit with the protein. That's why we have different flours. You want different protein contents. Big fucking noodle deal. Again, it makes good noodles. I don't know how it works. But the kansui powder, you can't find it anywhere. At least I haven't been able to. I've been to a bunch of Asian markets, can't find it. What you can do is just bake baking soda. It's like Google it, I don't know, baked baking soda for ramen noodles. You'll find it, it's not hard. But it does something to the baking soda, and it works. So basically for noodles, you wanna take your water, and again, it's like a hydration fucking equation. You wanna throw that kansui powder and the salt into the water, like so. Old trusty whisk makes a comeback. Again, making magic, making moves over here. You want to whisk that shit into the water until it disappears, incorporates. I mean, it doesn't disappear. It's not the water's not a magician. It just, dissolves, I guess. So that's why you're doing that. I think that looks cool. So that's done. And then all you really do is I like to throw my cake flour into a fucking mixer. There's another dish I gotta wash. Bread flour into the mixer. This rye flour. Oh, by the way, you toast this rye flour. I'm assuming it gives it a different flavor. It's, again, new recipe. It might turn out real shitty. Not sure. I like to just kind of, you can either turn that on and whisk it like that, or you can use this really good whisk that you have. And I promise I do have other whisks, but for some reason I always go back to this one, and I don't know, it works. So, cool. So you whisk it up, you fucking throw it in the sink because you're done with that whisk. You pour all that water into it, but I like to do it while it's running. You just turn this son of a bitch on low. I use the dough hook. You probably use the paddle mixer at least to incorporate, but fuck, I don't. So I'm gonna pour this water in. This is the most exciting part of the video, I'm sure, right now, is you just can't fucking wait to see this dough get mixed up. I know, you're not the only one. I'm pretty excited as well. And then I just kind of let this fucker rip for a minute. But it's definitely not working, so I'm gonna need to mix it a little bit better, like with a spoon maybe, because right now we kind of got some pancake batter going on. We don't really want that. You're gonna drip all that shit all over your mixer. You definitely want to do that. That's the coolest part about these mixers, is just dripping that shit all over it. Yeah, this dough looks super wet. This may not be a good recipe, or I scaled it down wrong, but to me, this is fucked. So don't make this dough. Use a different one. Like I said, this fucking no go. We'll find another one. So yeah, after this fucking abomination, which I didn't even put that bowl on. Yeah, it's fine. You just let it rip. You kind of look around. It's cool. Just question your life, why you're doing these things. Realize you're about out of bread flour, so you don't know what you're gonna do about more noodles. It's really, this is what happens every time. You just fucking wing it, throw it together. Don't work, it don't work. Next up, I'll be doing aroma oil. It's real exciting. It's another fucking real banger. So I'm gonna fix this slap, figure out what's going on. Yeah, fucking. So we're moving back to noodles because I definitely fucked that up. I doubled the water whenever I scaled it down. Long story short, I fucked up. Trust the recipe. Whatever. So the last dough that I had was like pancake batter. You definitely don't want that. That would not make a good noodle. Maybe like a good noodle cake, but not a good noodle. So whenever you do it right, you end up with a dough like this. It's firm. It's crumbly. What you need to do is you really need to get in there and knead it well while it's still in the bowl. It's just so that you pick up all the flour. This shit's weird because like if your home's like a low humidity, you're gonna have to add a little bit more water. God, my face is itchy as fuck. If it's dry, you're gonna need to add less water. Spring, fucking winter, it's all different shit. So you just kind of need to play it by ear, make it a few times, or play it by ear, you know what I mean? So yeah, you end up with a dough like this, but you can't just go from here to pasta roller or cutter, whatever you're gonna do. Please use a fucking pasta roller. Don't cut this by hand. You will not enjoy life at all. But yeah, after that, you put it in a plastic bag, get all the air out of it, and let it sit for a while, like at least 30 minutes, hour and a half. I use vacuum seal because I always use vacuum seal. I like it. It works well, and it will get all the air out of here. But when we come back, aroma oil I think is next. And then we're in the fucking home stretch, boy. So now we're gonna do the aroma oil. Typically this is done with lard, like a fucking cup, 2 cups of lard, depending how many people you're cooking for. It's nice because once you make this, you put it in the fridge, you let it get solid again. And you can kind of just plop little fucking bowls of it, or plop little spoonfuls of it into the bowl. It melts up, it's nice. You can kind of keep it around for a while. I don't have lard today. I didn't get it. I was at a grocery store, which I was just getting everything I needed for, as in the essentials. I did not get the lard. I wasn't gonna spend the money on it. Fucking oil will work fine. So if you have oil, use oil. Second thing is, if you have shitty kitchen knives, they suck. Don't use shitty kitchen knives. If you want a really decent, inexpensive, entry-level, good knife, the Victorinox chef knife, it's like an 8-inch chef's knife. I've got all the Victorinox shit because I'm a fucking Ninja Turtle, but not really. They're just cheap. They work well. If you break them, it's not the fucking end of the world. People spend like $300 on Japanese chef knives. They're great. I'd love to have one, but I fucking use this thing as a workhorse. I break down shit I probably shouldn't be breaking down with a nice knife. So I just buy these cheap fucking knives. It's like $30. It's lasted me, I don't know, I've had this like 5 years. I like it, still sharp. I sharpen it up, it's good. So for aroma oil, there's that. I'm just gonna give Victorinox a shameless little plug. I'm gonna do like a cup of fucking oil. It's like vegetable oil. We use whatever the fuck you got. Canola, duck. I don't give a shit. So I'm just gonna pour that in this little shitty saucepan that I have. We are buying new pots and pans soon, thank God. I've had these for years and they fucking non-stick pieces of shit. So Circulon is the brand of these. They can go fuck themselves. So that's that. Put the cap back on that before I knock it over and spill all of it on the floor because I've never done that before. I rough chop garlic, so I got like fucking 10 cloves garlic here. I'm just gonna chop these fuckers rough, not really a big deal. I'm gonna do it fast so we can just kind of move on here. Don't cut your finger, that's important. I've done it. I used to feed my dog raw food. So like every Sunday I would start making his batch of meals for the week. And I was cutting a sweet potato. Didn't cut it right at all. I cut it like an idiot. And since I have sharp knives, I cut the tip off of my finger. It fell on the floor. The dog ate it before I could find it. So he's dead now, but a little piece of me lived with him for a little while. But yeah, that cool story. I throw some ginger in there. I got like a 2-inch piece of ginger. You can tell if it's 2 inches by if it's the size of your dick or not. That's kind of where I'm at in life. So if you're worried about trying, oh, there almost goes that finger I was talking about. Rough chop that shit. Throw it in there. Onion. Fuck it. We're just getting wild. We're just doing what we gotta do here. I'm gonna chop that fucker in half. I'm gonna peel it. If you don't know how to cut an onion, that's kind of how you do it. You cut the tips off. The tip, not tips. It's very important to leave the root end intact. It holds everything together as you cut it. And then you just peel that shit off, and you end up with 2 nice pieces of onion. If you want to do fancy and dice it, you can go like this way twice. I don't really give a shit because I'm just rough chopping it. But yeah, you can go this way twice, and then you just kind of cut in this way. You don't go all the way through. Then you just kind of do it like that. Drop some. Dogs aren't supposed to eat onions just like my finger. This dog likes to eat everything off the floor. Onions, garlic, definitely healthy. Yeah, then you get all that shit in your little pot that's too small for everything you have, so it's fun. Green onions, this isn't a typical thing. Not a lot of people do green onions. I like doing green onions just because I like green onions. I think they taste pretty cool. You want to throw your root ends in. Yeah, this pot's way too fucking small. So you're gonna get a different pot. And then you're just gonna put it on the stove and let it rip at like medium low. Move my beer. We got fucking director over here telling me we got a problem. So yeah, you can probably hear her back there. Move your beer. So you need to get a bigger pot because you fucked that up. If you gotta add more oil, whatever. But let it rip medium low for like fucking however long it takes, like 30 minutes maybe, 40 minutes, 100 minutes. Let's not even discuss it minutes. But you just wait till shit starts like brown a little bit. Not a lot, just enough. You're just trying to extract all the flavor from that shit into the oil so that whenever you have your bowl of ramen, you drip your fucking drops of oil in there, you get a little flavor from this. So after that, I think we're gonna be done for today. Then tomorrow morning, what we're gonna do is the broth will be done. Once the broth's done, you want to like strain all the bones and shit out. You just want to let it sit overnight. If the broth isn't thick, you want your broth thick. Like it's 2020, you know, thick. So if it's not thick, you got to add gelatin. It's cheating. I don't like to do it. If you do it, I won't judge you. But to get gelatin naturally, you can throw like chicken's feet, more pig's feet. I'm feeling a Friday reference coming on, but I'm not going to do it. Really trying hard not to. But yeah, so then you strain that shit out, and then we'll come back to it in the morning. I'll show you how it's done, but for tonight, I'm going to get this on the stove, finish the broth. Oh shit, we might actually come back tonight and do noodles. We can probably do that tonight. So we're going to end up for now, and then we'll come back to noodles in like a few minutes. Fuck it, sure, why not? All right, so noodles. This has been sitting down for a while. It's nice and, I don't know, doughy. I don't know why I made that face. So what you do is you take your whole fucking shit log of dough here, and then you weigh it, okay? So this one's 368.3. What you want to do is, I think this was like a 3 serving portion. So what I'm going to do is divide it by 3. I'm not good at math, so I'm going to ask the Amazon right now so I know. Hey, Alexa, What is 368 divided by 3?
368 divided by 3 is 122.6667.
Yeah, okay. So 122. We're not going to worry about that 0.66. I don't give a fuck. Usually, write it down because I'm going to forget 122 at any minute now. I'm going to get to like the second one and be like, how much again? So I'm going to start before I fuck that up. But you're going to rip off a piece you think is like about right. That's 133. That was a pretty good fucking guess. You just kind of pinch it down until like you don't give a fuck anymore and it's close enough like that. Like 123. Good enough. So now, this is a KitchenAid pasta roller attachment kit thing, whatever. Paige got it for me for Christmas. You can buy them brand new, but a lot of times they have refurbished ones on Amazon. She bought the refurbished one because it works just as good and because she's fucking cheap. And she doesn't care that I spend a lot of money on her for Christmas and she just buys me this bullshit. But, so then what you do is you take your noodle or your dough. I like to roll it flat, like just flat enough. This dough is difficult to work with typically. This has a much higher hydration than what I'm used to, so this should be pretty simple. But you turn on your mixer. I don't know if you can still hear me or not. You probably can. You just kind of set it on the lowest setting. You feed your dough ball through. Again, sometimes it's difficult to work with, sometimes it's not. So you get this little shit plop there. Just let it run through again. I know I'm going to turn up the speed because this is actually reasonably easy to work with. I'm going to hold it now horizontally once and do it again. Since this shit's so wet, I'm going to do it this way again. Sometimes it's a little easier to work with when it's wider than it is taller, if that makes sense. Then you just work it through a bunch. So like I'll put it on 2. And I'm really gonna crank up the fucking speed here, so you're definitely not gonna hear me. But just watch, just fucking, I'll shut up. Just, okay. 4. Just got a dog hair in it. I saw it at the last minute, so that's fine. There it is. So this one I only ran to 7. I'm actually going to run it back through at 6. I don't like how thin it is. So I'm going to double it down, run it through at 6. Usually with my really low hydration noodles, I do it all the way to 8, but this time I'm not going to. So what you're left with after that is this big fucking sheet of dough. It's thin, it's long, it reminds me a lot of myself except the long. You take this piece off, that's the roller, and then you attach your cutter. It's pretty simple setup here. You just do that, and fucking tighten the screw, and now you cut the noodles. So you just turn it on, and this is mad. This is like one of my favorite fucking things I own because it works so well. And then you just set it through the top there. Let it rip. So that's noodles. If you're working with a really dry dough, the next step is not that important, but since this dough is so wet, this is definitely important. You're gonna sprinkle it with cornstarch. This way it keeps them from sticking together and just becoming a big nasty fucking mess. You just kind of mix them up. They say you can like ball it up and kind of like squeeze it like a baseball and then break it apart and do it again and do it again. And that's kind of how you get that like curly noodle shape. I don't like doing that because I get nervous that they're gonna like stick together, but I mean, I'm kind of doing it right now and fuck it. I mean, whatever, like it's cool, it's working. So that's noodles. I'm gonna come closer so you can kind of see what's going on here. That's noodles. They're good, they work. Yeah. So then what I like to do is I will just put them in like a little plastic bag or something and fucking let it sit in the fridge overnight if you aren't cooking it. I mean, it'll sit in the fridge. It's fucking no big deal. I'm letting it sit in the fridge because I'm not cooking till tomorrow. Some people say to let it sit in the fridge and cure. I don't know. Just do what you want. all this shit is do what the fuck you want. If you get a good idea of how it comes together, do what the fuck you want. I made a ramen that was like birria inspired off like Mexican street food shit. It was like not normal at all. And it turned out good. I mean, it wasn't great, but it turned out pretty cool, pretty good. Do what the fuck you want. Whatever makes you happy. That's what we do in the kitchen. If it sucks, just tell everybody that it's like a new style and that no one knows about it. You're the first one. It's super cool. But yeah, so after noodles, I'm just going to work through the rest of these, be done. Make some chicken wings for dinner, probably. I'll work on the rest of this shit tomorrow. The aroma oil right now is just cooking. What we'll do when it's done. Man, I just kind of did one of those. It's kind of cool. Once it's done, you're just going to pour this through like a mesh strainer, a sieve, whatever. Throw out all the vegetables, keep them for something else. I don't know what, but do your thing, get freaky. Put in a container, put in the fridge. And then, yeah, but once the broth gets done, we'll let it strain it out, put it in a container, put it in the fridge, let it, get cool overnight, skim the fat, whatever. But we'll do that tomorrow. So for now, I'm done, and then we'll see you tomorrow.